Hello, Berkeley Heights Elementary School. It's your music teacher, Miss Wright, and today we are celebrating Show Off Your Pet Day. As most of you already know, I have two very special pets, and they are rats. So this gray one that just went on the lower level drinking water now is Pamela, and the one that escapes all the time that I talk about sometimes is Tiny. So they're going to help me read a very special story today, and it is called Mr. Packrat Really Wants That. And the book is by Marcus Ewert. Mr. Packrat felt so good he thought he might explode. He had just built his first midden. What's a midden? It's a nest Packrats build out of whatever is lying around. So right here is actually their midden, and I took it out because rats are actually nocturnal, and they would be asleep, not really doing anything in their ball right now. So I took out their midden. Mr. Packrat's midden had a theme, brown. He gathered brown pine needles, brown sticks and leaves, brown acorns, pine cones, and chips of bark. Brown is such a cozy color, Mr. Packrat said, and my midden is the brownest midden ever. Phew, he said, I need a break. So he walked to his favorite meadow. The wildflowers were all in bloom. Oh, these colors, he gasped. Juicy reds and perky oranges and lemony yellows. It's like a rainbow fell from the sky and broke into a million pieces. He thought of his midden. Ugh, he cried. A one-color midden is so boring. Only these colors can make me happy. Mr. Packrat had an old metal bar that had been in his family for a long, long time. The bar didn't look like much, but with the right words, it worked like a magnet, a magical magnet. He pointed the bar at the flowers and said, all of these flowers that I see, magnet, bring them home with me. Mr. Packrat, Mr. Packrat, Mr. Packrat really wants that. And cling, the bar rang like a bell. The magic jumped out and fit, plucked every flower. Mr. Packrat marched home with the flowers bobbing behind him. Mr. Packrat was delighted with his colorful midden for about a week. But then the flowers did what flowers do, and they withered and they turned brown. Mr. Packrat was back to a one-color midden, and the dead flowers kind of stank. Ew, he cried, I'm going out, which we should not do right now. He walked to his favorite beach. That day, the waves had pushed their most beautiful shells onto the sand. Such glittering shapes and forms, Mr. Packrat gushed. It's like a million pirates emptied their treasure chests onto the beach, and shells won't wilt. Pointing the bar, he said, seashells that the ocean gave, magnet, drag them to my cave. Mr. Packrat, Mr. Packrat, Mr. Packrat really wants that. The bar rang, clang. The magic jumped out and rackle, 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 scooped up every shell. Mr. Packrat strode home. The shells jostled noisily behind him. Mr. Packrat was truly happy for a couple hours. But away from the sun, the sand, the sea, the shells didn't dazzle. And what can you really do with shells anyway? Sort them? Arrgh, Mr. Packrat shouted. You shells are so boring. I'm going out. He walked to his favorite store. Everywhere he looked, there was something cool. Toys and tools and games, he cried. Telescopes and fishing rods. It's like a million scientists invented every fun thing they could think of. I want it all. The bar was already in his hand. I have lots, but I want more. Magnet, empty every store. Mr. Packrat, Mr. Packrat, Mr. Packrat really wants that. Clang! The bar rang very loudly. The magic picked every item up and switch, threw it at Mr. Packrat. This time he had to run home to keep from getting clonked in the head. Mr. Packrat's cave was so cluttered that there wasn't room for him to play with any of his new belongings. There was barely enough room for him. Eep, he squeaked. I can't breathe. He just managed to squeeze outside. Stars flared against the jet-black sky. Infinite space, he cried. Majestic vastness. I want it, I want it, I want it. I don't see a reason why I shouldn't own the whole night sky. Mr. Packrat, Mr. Packrat, Mr. Packrat really wants that. Clong! The bar rang like a gong of doom. The magic tugged every star, moon, and planet. A comet headed straight for Mr. Packrat. Oh no! No, he shrieked. I take it back. I don't want the whole night sky. Please, Magnet, I take back my wish. The bar leapt out of his hands, and when it finally fell, it hit the ground with a thud. Everything was quiet. The moon, stars, and planets sat in their proper places. The comet headed somewhere else. Mr. Packrat threw himself on the ground. I was almost squashed, he wailed. How did everything go so wrong? I just wanted to be happy. He cried and cried until he finally fell asleep. When Mr. Packrat woke up the next morning, the sun was yellow as fresh butter. Breezes chased each other in the grasses. Every leaf wore crystals of the morning dew. Ah, said Mr. Packrat. He was smiling. He immediately reached for the bar, but then he stopped. No, Mr. Packrat, he said. What were you going to wish for? The sun? Mr. Packrat sat down in a pretty glade. Sunshine warmed his face, breezes tickled his fur, butterflies danced around him. Mr. Packrat was happy. He looked at the metal bar. You know, Magnet, he said at last, I've been using you all wrong. I kept asking you for things to make me happy, but I never knew when I was happy already. And actually, I'm quite happy a lot of the time. What I need is a friend to remind me of that. The bar began ringing merrily. Cling-a-ding, cling-a-ding. What is it, Magnet? Said Mr. Packrat. You sound so happy. Packrat stopped. Then he giggled. Oh, he said, I get it. Cling-a-ding. From then on, the bar rang. Cling-a-ding, cling-a-ding, whenever Mr. Packrat was already happy. Cling-a-ding-ding, it rang when Mr. Packrat returned everything to the store and he saw the smile on the shopkeeper's face. Cling-a-ding-ding, it rang when Mr. Packrat brought the shells back to the beach and rearranged them on the sand. Cling-a-ding, the bar rang when Mr. Packrat spread the dead flowers all over the meadow. The dead flowers had become mulch from which new flowers would spring. And cling-a-ding, rang the bar very softly when Mr. Packrat curled up on his brown midden, ready for a good night's sleep. Mr. Packrat really likes that. And that is the end of our story. I think our rats enjoyed the story. What do you think? Yep, they're up walking around. Before I go, I just want to tell you all how much I really, truly miss your beautiful smiling faces. I'm really hoping to see you soon. And I hope that you're still being as musical as possible. Today, I didn't have anything that really sounded like a magnet, so I made my own instrument today. I grabbed a metal cup and a little silicone reusable lid, and I actually just stuck a key on the inside to make my instrument today. So if you make any instruments, make sure you send them my way. I can be reached on Class Dojo and on Schoology. So stay musical, friends. Bye!